I'll be honest, it's a little weird to sit here today, type out these video notes, then start talking into the microphone while thinking that the amount of Modern Warfare videos to come are now numbered. Naturally, as of this next week with Black Ops Cold War's launch, there's going to be so much to talk about, but it's still kind of weird to me that we're already over a year into Modern Warfare. And at this point last year, we would have already had about 2 weeks under a belt of playtime. To me, all things considered with 2020, it's weird to see that it's been this much time already. But as we start to wind down today, I wanted to talk to you about, as strange as it may seem, the future of Modern Warfare, what's going to be happening, and what may become of a year two, if you will, of the game, if there is one. Especially as of recent years, it's not crazy to see updates, adjustments, and even content drops happening for games even after their main year in the spotlight is finished. I mean, hell, COD World War II even just launched an update recently the other day that, sure, while minor, was an update almost 3 years after the game had launched. So as we go along, let me know your thoughts down below. Would you take part in a year two of Modern Warfare? Would you like to see anything in particular? Whatever it is, let me know down below. As well, if you are new to the channel, do be sure to hit the subscribe button as we're on the road to 400,000 subscribers, and with the launch of a brand new title coming this upcoming week, we'll keep you up to date with absolutely everything and anything you need to know in regards to Black Ops Cold War, Warzone, and Modern Warfare where applicable. Finally, if you'd like to support the channel a little bit further, like Cody, Roger, Chris, Andrew, Zachary, and Darkhav, you can use code ESPRESSO in the item shop for Modern Warfare if any items interest you. It's entirely optional, but if you do, tweet me a picture. I'd love to shout out some of your generous support. But anyways, let's talk about year two potentially of Modern Warfare. So right off the bat, is it something that is crazy to consider that we'd see more content even after the launch of the next game? Well, not really, because we've seen this post-launch of other games for quite some time now, all the way back to Black Ops 3, where we got new weapons after Infinite Warfare and Modern Warfare Remastered's initial launch starting their content year, but then even later on throughout that span, we got Zombies Chronicles well into that year. Then we saw games like World War II continuing support well into the lifespan of Black Ops 4, where we had new weapons dropped, new playlist refreshes, permanent double XP, and again, even as of this past week, another update for the game. With Black Ops 4, we saw the entire black market overhauled after the launch of Modern Warfare to bring the game to a more consumer-friendly model of the black market. So with all of that and more, what's to stop Modern Warfare from following in those footsteps? Well, if you are a fan of Modern Warfare, it looks like it will continue that trend. We know this from a few different locations, the big ones though being the current Battle Pass countdown and other data mined content, then also, as of recently, the recent ranking system integration blog posts and mentions we've seen in there. Now, when it comes to talking about what could be coming here with this, I don't want to stay too much on this because we have talked about this in our Season 7 video, but we've talked about in the last year a lot about data mine content, and there still is, even as of right now, items in the game files that are not only just unreleased, but newer unreleased items that have been worked on in the recent past. So while we have things like the season-ending content of Griggs coming seemingly this week for Modern Warfare and maybe even the Butterfly Knife, things as of the Makarov pistol have been found within the game files, and even as of recently have been spawning in-game on bots and private matches. This was a result of the Haunting of Verdansk update. Right whenever that went live, we saw this for the first time, untextured but built out, and again, a weapon that hasn't been there before. So this points towards more content being worked on for later on down the line, and again was a big part of what we thought was going to be in relation to Season 7. But that ending of the Battle Pass also is something that if you take a look at other games like Black Ops 4 with that Battle Pass system, even as of the introduction of Operation Dark Divide, there was no timer that would indicate another update coming to Black Ops 4 at the launch of that season, or that operation. Season 6 has always had an end date on it, and it is something that right now is scheduled to end or change over on the 24th of this month. So it is possible that, again, being that we see new stuff in the game files being added in, it's possible we see new stuff introduced for even more post-launch support after Black Ops Cold War. We have also seen things like Rebirth Island, which is a repurposed and retextured variation of Alcatraz from Blackout. That was something that made its way as of recently in the last couple of title updates in a progressive fashion. More and more of a build there for that, but it's more so now looking like it's going to be associated with DLC 1 for Black Ops Cold War, where the roadmap that we got from Call of Duty detailed that we'd get a new Warzone experience with that. And again, we talked about how it mentions the island that Rebirth Island is actually based on, so that comes full circle at that point. But in terms of other stuff, there is even more content that has not made its way over into the game even since the very beginning of the game. We've mentioned him plenty times here on the channel before, but data miner Senesalo ended up digging up a ton of stuff pre-launch and shortly thereafter the launch of Modern Warfare. Maps like Farida, which was from the campaign and was originally planned for ages ago, but apparently was withheld to make adjustments to the map that the community seemingly wouldn't have liked. Exclusion Zone, which takes place on the outer edges of Pripyat. Takedown, which is kind of like High Rise, but not High Rise. Borderline, which is the outer city limits somewhere in Eastern Europe. Urzikstan, Rivna, Subbase, Torres, Oasis. There's quite literally a half dozen to a dozen maps that are in the game files that just never made it. So that stuff, in theory, could be something that holds out for consistent drops post-launch even. There were also Warzone areas in there, but again, I think that's more so just because it was Warzone areas before we knew Warzone was a thing. Plus, a lot of the stuff that was data mined out of that also made it over into Warzone Rumble, so therefore associating with multiplayer files, and could be an explanation for that one. But there's also other operators like Yandi, Stoli, Lynch, Nebo, Kilgore, Trig, Hooper, Kato that never made it into the game as well. So we have a ton of stuff to certainly pick from, but how much of it actually is viable and not from the cutting room floor is something that we just won't know until time progresses. Additionally, not data mined, but also something that was brought into the discussion around the time of Warzone's launch. Whenever Modern Warfare 2 Campaign Remastered came out, a lot of people were wondering, okay, but what about those multiplayer maps for Modern Warfare 2? Are we gonna get those? Are you gonna release multiplayer at any time? And I very distinctly remember this was the big pushback from Activision where they said, no, we're not gonna be releasing multiplayer, but you'll see multiplayer maps from Modern Warfare 2 introduced into the world of Modern Warfare 2019. And since then, I mean, we've only seen, off the top of my head, if my memory serves me correctly, Scrapyard in Season 4, and also the cut Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer map of Oil Rig, which later became Offshore in Modern Warfare 3. That came in Season 5. We had other maps in the Modern Warfare universe of Hard Hat in Season 3 and also Broadcast in Season 6, but Modern Warfare 2 maps specifically, we've only had 2 of those since that announcement. So again, that's not necessarily data mined, but could be fuel for what could come later on down the line at some point, though since we've seen so little, I'm not really getting my hopes up for that particular part. So there's certainly no shortage of what could come, it's just a matter of what will come. But when it also comes to fundamentals and updates coming to Modern Warfare, we know of at least one, even if you take a theoretical Season 7 off the table. Even if that doesn't happen, later on in December, we're going to see a title update for Modern Warfare for Warzone in conjunction with Black Ops Cold War's Season 1 update. Because as we've talked about here, that is going to be something that not only introduces the new ranking system to Warzone, but also to Modern Warfare. So the fundamental base ranking system that you have now of seasonal ranks is going to change out. So that very well could mean that even if you don't see new content introduced, you're going to have some support that changes out how the game plays. And also, if there is a title update necessary for Modern Warfare, which is more than likely, that is something that very well could carry new content and maybe new DLC along with it. So the real question comes down to what we see and in what quantity, because we know that we're going to have some support regardless. At the very bare minimum, we'll see an update go live or something that takes Season 6 offline. Maybe that just puts it in a limbo period where there is no new battle pass, where there is no new season after that, no new content, but that'd be an update to take it offline essentially. But we also know that, of course, again, at the very bare minimum, we have that new ranking system that will give support to Modern Warfare throughout the next year 2, if you will, where you can end up working towards that battle pass and other things and your universal rank by playing Modern Warfare, Warzone, or Black Ops Cold War, because it's all the same connected system. But in terms of actual content, that again is still the beauty of it, is that there looks to be some stuff coming. We just don't know what. So that's really the true surprise and how much we'll see with that, whether or not it's Black Ops 3 and continued support throughout Black Ops Cold War's year as a secondary title and drops multiple weapons, multiple battle passes, a new DLC map pack the likes of Zombies Chronicles. But for Modern Warfare, it's possible, though not likely, but it's definitely something that is curious to consider. I definitely think that we'll at least see a little bit of support as we have with most recent titles in the last couple of years. But am I expecting this to be a thriving game for the next year, come this time next year, seeing 6 other new seasons and DLC maps? Not really. I think that's something that Infinity Ward will keep on supporting the game a little bit, but for the most part are going to switch their focus towards their next project. Whether or not they have 2021, which is rumored, they'll likely be working on what could be very well the sequel to Modern Warfare, a Modern Warfare Roman numeral 2. But in the meantime, we do have quite a lot up on deck for Modern Warfare, Warzone, and Black Ops Cold War within the next couple of months. So whatever game suits your fancy, you're going to have something to do. That said, that's where we're going to wrap it up. I'd love to get your thoughts and feedback down there in the comment section down below. What are you hoping to see in terms of maybe weaponry, maps, or any support for Modern Warfare in a year or two, if you are at all? If you enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Modern Warfare, Warzone, and of course, Black Ops Cold War as we round into the launch week of a brand new game. That is still so crazy to think about. But if you guys are interested in any of that, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. Also, almost forgot to mention my friends at G Fuel bumped up code Espresso to 30% off. So if you guys want to get a restock, check out something new for the first time, code Espresso will net you an extra discount from now until the next couple of days. So if you're interested, check that out. But if you also want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, those are the best places to get connected outside of YouTube. Practically live on both those. So if you guys want to check my conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, links in the description below. That said, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.